to you to celebrate the day that heaven made you. It's remarkable that we both found one another. The day we set out on our transformational ride with each other at each other's side, it soon became evident that we are both changing. And it's such a wonder ride, my dear. Yes, it's such a wonder ride. Hold on tight, tightly, my dear. And now that our journey it starts to unfold in a multi-dimensional world of untold delights that truly defy the imagination. You've naturally taken it up on yourself to document all of the nuances that go to make up a story of extraordinary proportions. And it's such a wonder ride, my dear. Yes, it's such a wonder ride. Hold on tight, tightly, my dear. Yeah, it's such a wonder ride, my dear. Yes, it's such a wonder ride. Hold on tight, tightly, my dear. Sing the word, chant the word, speak the word, dance the word, say the word, praise the word, feel the word, love the word, live the word, vibrate the word, shake the word, hum the word, breathe the word, whisper the word, sign the word, love the word, sing it now, sing the word, chant the word, speak the word, dance the word, say the word, praise the word, feel the word, love the word, live the word.
Greetings, good evening, folks. This is Lumination doing a little mini show for a Sunday Night Live mini live thing. Hold on, I just spilled a bit here. Just a bit of a spill. Sorry about that. And the show goes on. Hello, Ivona. I'm glad to hear the kitties recovered okay. A Rose Rain. I'm just checking through the chat. Yes or no? I don't do yes or no questions. Sorry, Rose. That's really... I'm not a fortune teller. You have to make your own decisions. We can examine a situation and you can put a donation in, and the best way to do that is through the PayPal system. I'll show you. You don't have to have a PayPal account or anything. Let me show you. And typically people put in 10, 15, 20 bucks at a pop, and I can do maybe 2 or 3 readings, or maybe even 4 readings on an evening. So I feel lucky that I'm even here at all at the moment, frankly. So let me show you. Ivona knows what to do, and we might have a few visitors later on. We'll see who shows up. I've been doing quite a lot of private work in the background recently with folks who are normally regular visitors on the show tonight. So they might feel already way more than satisfied and not needing to hang out at the show at all. And so it might just be just a handful of us here. No big deal. Excuse me. But we will play with the astrodoodle for a moment first. Let me work with a rose rain. Let's have a look over here. So Rose, I'm just going to call you Rose. I hope that's okay. So Rose, if you've got some money on hand, you don't know what to do with it, and it's on a debit card or a credit card, you can go to terralumination.com on a separate tab of your computer or your phone or something like that. Go to terralumination.com and click the donate page. Click the donate button. That will open up a like a payment processor, sort of like what you do with, big retail shopping things. It's the same thing, and you just go through the process and swipe a card. Pretty straightforward if you're used to that kind of thing. And if with the PayPal, you can scroll down and just to choose to pay with card. You don't even have to have your own PayPal account. Hello, Sarah, over there in Benghazi. The other thing you can do, Rose, if you are a frequent PayPal user and you've got your own account and everything, you can go direct to my email over here and just type that in one of your devices or something and send money that way. Here it is. Here's the email. A little book about at yahoo.com. So there you go. Yes or no questions are very tricky. And the whole point, a lot of what I do, some people have been asking me to help them to understand how this all works, how astrology works, how tarot works, and how the whole phenomenon of being able to do readings works at all in the first place. And it's very interesting. People have, when I first started on YouTube in early 2017, there were probably a couple hundred channels, 10, 20, 50, 100 or so, doing this kind of thing, but now there's probably 10,000, I would imagine. I lost count long ago. My channel got swiped really brutally towards the end of 2018, and it's been that way ever since. And so I've just been living off whatever we can scrape up. That's sadly how it is, but we're still here. Let me just check in with folks. Let's have a look. Did I show you this? Yeah, this is what it looks like at terralumination.com. If you want to book a personal reading, you just go to the readings page. If you want to connect directly, you can connect that way. It works too. Sometimes we have private meetings or public meetings. You can go over there. We'll learn all about that. In the meantime, let's say hello. Greetings, folks. This is Terralumination. So the thing about like yes or no questions is that it's like you're abdicating your responsibilities to live your life and you're outsourcing it to someone else. All I can do is, there are astrologers and tarot readers who I'm sure they will take your money and give you a yes or no answer to any question that you pose. But I know I wouldn't dare to do that myself. I've been doing this a long time, and I have a disclaimer on my channel that states sort of, it's like a protection clause, like they have in real estate or banking or something. Like, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to make your decisions for you. I'll do everything I can to help. The way I do that is through illumination. I feel that the thing that we do best on this channel is we gently diagnose a situation, bring it up, you've got, I often say this, you've got to reveal it to heal it. So if your personal life soul journey at this very moment in time revolves around resolving a yes or no situation, then you can examine that by doing a diagnostic, okay? Oh, thank you, Ivona. I'll set that up for you. No big deal. We can handle that. And then what happens is we do a little mini reading, and that puts some light on the subject. You don't have to know me. I don't have to know you. We can do a totally blind reading. We are relying on the strength of our connections with our invisible friends, with spirit and angels and all that wonderful stuff. Some people think, the things I do are, I'm just a total crackpot. I get it. I have family that thinks I'm a total crackpot, but they still love me. They're just kind of like, okay. But then again, I've been helping a lot of people over the years. I've done thousands of readings. Most of the readings are appreciated or very highly appreciated. So, Rose, to be blunt, no. Sorry, I don't do yes or no question answers situations. But we can examine your situation, and then we can throw light on it, and then you can have a better chance of resolving what you alone must resolve. I don't live people's lives for them. And you can actually read that in detail on my disclaimer on the channel itself. You go to the About section. It's basically like a legal protection clause for myself, because sometimes I work with clients regarding finance and housing and investments and so on, and it involves a lot of money, sometimes huge amounts of money, and I can't be held liable for someone else's decisions that lead to poor outcomes. They can't come back to me and say, TL, you told me yes, we could do this and everything would be great. Or TL, you said no, don't do that and everything will be great. You see, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I know it'd be so nice to have just a perfect crystal ball and I could sit here and I would go, yes! Or, no! I guess we could do like a magic show, but it would be pretend. I don't think I could do it. I just don't think I could do it. Oh gosh. Let me go over here to the Astrodoodle. So, let's have a look here. Where did I just go? Oh, here we are. Yeah, here we are. Here's the stage where we do the homework. So here's today's Astrodoodle. I did something on Friday because the particular chart on the moment has been lingering for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's still lingering, okay? And you might have noticed it's this big, fat, red T-square. They call it a T-square actually because when you look at astrology, with the way a lot of astrologers teachers, they say that this is what constitutes a T-square. There's basically some sort of opposition between one planet or one point and another, and at the central pivot point, 90 degrees away on each side, you have another aspect, a very specific aspect. So this would be a hard square here, and a full opposition here. It's one of the most stressful alignments in astrology. And some of you might have noticed a while back when the moon was in Scorpio, right over here, we actually had a big fat grand cross. And it went like this. With the oppositions here and the oppositions here. That's like being hogtied. That's like I know for myself, I'm quite sensitive to the planets and the way they affect me physiologically, and I don't fight it. If you try and fight this stuff, you can. It's like you just like this has the potential for backfiring really badly. And if you try to fight this energy, then because it's very, very stressful energy the way it's set up. Now, if you are, let's say, experienced, you can actually ride this energy and learn and grow from this. But for a lot of people, or countries or rulers or politicians, they end up being, I would say, a victim of this type of dynamic, and all the, let's say, trickier behaviors emerge. The most obvious ones that I have pointed out recently is over here, the global financial markets. You've probably heard about it everywhere on your news or not. Hello, Robin. I see you. Probably heard it about your news. There's inflation everywhere across the world. It's grotesque inflation. However bad they're telling you it is, it's actually much worse. And that is all symptomatic of a deep and deliberate perversion of the financial system, which is kind of imploding, and they're trying to squeeze out everything they can. I think of this as the shadow behavior here. The negative aspects of Pluto retrograde are very severe, and they work on a very large global scale, and they work very slowly, and they go down to the very, very depth of human behavior and planetary experience. We've been dealing with this for years, okay? Back in 2008, Pluto was here, roughly, okay? Actually, Pluto was here. And here we are, 10, 18, 19, 20, here we are, 14. It took 14 years to go from here to here. At that time, it was the 2008-2009 global financial crisis that happened in the United States, and it spread like a toxic venom throughout the world. The one that we're having today is a much worse situation. It's much bigger, it's much more toxic, and it's unfolding much more slowly and with much more damage everywhere. And it is all a result of the game that is played by the elites at the very tippity top of the triangle of power, control, and money. Winston, Aland, I feel you. English not my first language. Okay, no worries. Greetings, Winston. So, howdy, Winston. Thanks for visiting. So, I'm just kind of trying to give impressions here. So this fat thing is happening up there in our solar system in outer space. And I look at it as sacred geometry. It's very pure, it's very perfect, it's nothing personal. The planets aren't trying to attack you. They're not trying to attack Earth or us. They're not trying to open gateways for the aliens to appear. It's just what they're doing. They're just orbiting around the sun. This is geocentric astrology. It's as though the Earth is at the center of our solar system, and we witness everything from Earth. So this is what it looks like. I have a friend who is studying deep into heliocentric astrology, where everything centers around the sun. It's very interesting. So anyway, right now we have Jupiter, Neptune, Saturn, and Pluto all retrograde. So it appears from Earth as though those planets are going backwards instead of forwards. Forward motion on these charts goes this way. And right now Uranus is stationary retrograde. So this is a very grinding energy. It's like somebody's got a grip on your shoulder, and it's like a vice grip that is tightening and tightening and tightening, and it's not going to let go probably for months, okay? It's going to sit there. Now Mars has already moved past, but this is the thing that I've been talking about for weeks, where when we found the buildup from Mars conjoined Jupiter over here, and the subject of war was going to spread all over the world, and over here the subject of world war was going to spread all over the world, including mainstream media. They're trying to avoid the subject because it's a bit awkward. You know, nobody wants to officially, openly declare, oh my God, it's World War III. I'm sorry, we're already in it. It's been building up, and we are now actually in it. I know people think about war as guns and bullets and airplanes and aircraft carriers and submarines and nukes and everything like that, and bodies blowing up and everything, and that's true, and that's actually happening. But there's a much, much bigger war that's going on, and that is the currency war between the United States and the rest of the world. And it's a very, very tough battle. The biggest battle is between the United States and China. Okay, we all know that. Okay. So, and this is happening live right now. Over the last 30, 40 years, the United States and China has built up a relationship that is now turning into something very, very toxic, very deadly. It's like a marriage. If you look at the astrology, I haven't done any shows on it really. I did about 6 months ago or something. It's like the characteristics is like a marriage between the United States and America. I call it Chinerica. And it has a very glossy exterior, like, really glossy marriage where there's the handsome guy and the gorgeous girl, and they both hook up because they both see a way to exploit each other. It's a marriage of exploitation, okay? And in real life, human to human, that tends to backfire, and that's exactly what's happening. America is deep in bed with China. China is deep in bed with America. And they're both trying to decouple from each other. It's easier said than done. Hello, Path. So what's happening is this marriage is being exposed as a very ugly marriage because behind the scenes there's a lot of abuse and horrible things going on. We have over here, we have a massive debt farm that is owned and run and operated by the United States Federal Reserve and the global banking system that they own and operate with their buddies. And over here we have a massive slave camp which operates inside the same financial bubble using a different currency. In order for these folks to survive, they have to manipulate their currency to adapt to the American game, okay? And so what happens is you get all your computers and TVs and everything, and socks and t-shirts and fast fashion and chips and huge amounts of technology and stuff made over here under contract to here, and it's actually all spread across the whole world. As we know by now, China is the world's factory. A lot of it contracted out 40, 30, 20, 10 years ago, and now they're trying to retract because they're seeing that this is actually a bit of a problem, because essentially China is now holding the whole world hostage because of their manufacturing abilities. And it's allowed Americans especially to live a good life at the expense of the slaves in the slave camp. So it's happening live today now, real time. So what these folks are doing over here is they're trying to squeeze out the last drop of their financial shenanigans because the game is over. If you study finances deeply, okay, if you look at global finances, what they have is a massive, very, very successful, like a Ponzi scheme, like a fraud, and everyone has basically been sucked into it with no way out, and it's falling apart because it's based on fraud. Fake money printed forever out of thin air, and people are, let's say, fooled or seduced into believing it's real wealth. Things didn't used to be that way, but they are today. I was watching, thank you, Path Traveler, I was watching those charts for what WTF in 1971. All these charts that showed what happened when the United States went off the gold standard, and you could see immediately how the banks took advantage of the ability to commit fraud without any accountability. And that's what's been going on for the last 50 years, And so here we are today, and the global population has been bled out, and they're sick. We're sick of it. So anyway, that's just one part of the war. That's actually probably the biggest part of the war. I call it the actual real war. It's World War III over there. But it's going to spread into physical, some people call it, kinetic warfare, okay? So, anyway, this has been going on for weeks now as different planets transit through the Leo area. And it's going to go on for a little while longer. And eventually this big fat triangle will break up and other beautiful and wonderful things and other scary things will occur. And we'll deal with that as we go along. Just going to give you a heads up now, 2023, the whole freaking year is a massive collection of very challenging aspects of sacred geometry, okay? Now, what can we do about that? Okay, I guess I should explain, you could talk deep into the astrology. The point is, with a situation like this, aspects like this, it puts tremendous stress on the United States, because the United States is born with the Aquarius Leo axis for the North Node in the late degrees, basically right where Saturn is right now. And so in a few days, this is going to become even more acutely aligned with the North Node of America. And what it's going to do is going to highlight how the United States has defaulted and basically abandoned its commitment to itself and its responsibility to its integrity as established in 1776. And here we are today, about 250 years later, at the Pluto return of the United States. And the whole idea is that somebody, somewhere, some nation, some body of people, some country has to set an example of leadership, outstanding, unique leadership, where each person has the right to display their sovereign individual self inside the safety of a community, where you are appreciated inside the community, rather than having to be a country where someone has to be at the very top of the pyramid and becomes what amounts to be an extremely brutal and corrupt dictatorship, which is what is happening right now in the United States with today's administration. So other people have other opinions. I have my opinions, and I know what they are, and I'm kind of being a little bit, vague about sharing that. But basically, I think the folks who are running the United States right now are a bunch of freaking evil criminals. And they all deserve to go to prison. There's 4 big families that have been working on this for 40 years. And then there's the banking cartels, okay? So it's being heavily tested right now. The United States is being heavily tested. Are we living up to our North Node, let's say, mandate to be heroic in our leadership and our self-expression as individuals, like in the 5th house, for example, like with private enterprise, the ability to maintain and own and understand and respect and honor and actually have an identity, what you could call your sovereign self. And then from there, have your own sovereign wealth, your own sovereign money, your own sovereign identity. And that is the absolute worst thing that you could have inside a communist dictatorship. The shadow side of this Aquarian energy is communism, okay? The positive side is humanity and healthy community, okay? So you can see how easy it is to get confused. communism and community, okay? So it's under a lot of pressure with these angles here. And the pressure is felt in the global financial markets. Now these little green squiggle lines here are basically very harmonious aspects and angles that are helping us all to live through, because there's never a chart where it's all green or it's all red on my astrodoodles. There's always something balancing out. There's a stronger energy or a weaker energy or a stronger energy. But right now, this is extremely strong, and so a lot of people are probably feeling it in their wallet. Okay? Think of your personal wealth over here in your wallet, like gasoline prices going up through the roof all over the world, food crises, food prices, global inflation, complete collapse of countries and economies. It's mainstream news now. You know, there Sri Lanka, parts of Kenya, Ethiopia. I can't really show it here, but some of the states in the Middle East here, some of the countries over here, have some over here having complete financial meltdowns because they're not in a position. They don't own the world's reserve currency. The United States has the grotesque privilege of running the world's so-called reserve currency, which basically gives us a green light to use and abuse accordingly. And the folks at the very, very top of the pyramid have made a decision to weaponize the beautiful, sacred American dollar. It's a really sad, tragic thing. It didn't used to be that way. It got to be that way because we allowed it. We, the people, allowed it to be that way because we were too dumb and ignorant and unaware of the extent of what I would say is just pure evil. And some people are waking up now, okay? Time to do something about it. Well, anyway, I don't want to scare everybody. I've got a reading to do. All right. So, I'm not sure. Let's leave this like, okay, let me just go over here a second. I want to say hello again. So, excuse me. I'm just sharing my opinions as an astrologer. I've done, thousands of readings for people. I try to help as much as I can. I can try to keep it as simple as possible. I had several very, very good teachers, and I learned as much as I can. I'm not a hardcore, academic type, and I don't have their fancy, super expensive softwares. And even if I did, I'm not sure it would help that much. And so the astrology that I do tends to be like a very simplified, westernized astrology. And it's very common and it's quite popular. And it's used in many places across the world. Some places use Vedic astrology. Some folks don't go near astrology. And it's the same thing with the tarot. I had some very, very good teachers. But I've found ways to work which keep things much simpler and more in alignment with my own nature. I'm not very good at being forced into doing something absolutely by the book. I was born primarily an artist and a writer and a musician, and I've always struggled with having to do things according to the norms of society, like being a normie. You'd never know that I was a freak, but I am, okay? Teal, it's not Pisces season. Why the fish? It's Leo season. Yes, it is. It's true. I should probably have, a backdrop of lions in the jungle. Yeah. Sorry about that. The fish are very calming, and Neptune is in Pisces. It's been there for years, and we've still got a few years to go, so that's my excuse. Yay, celebrate the fishes. Lovely, 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 beautiful ocean. All right. I'm going to get over here for a second. All right, so first up, we got a reading booked with Ivona. Some of you know Ivona. She's been with the channel almost since the beginning. Regular visitor. She lives over in the New Jersey type area, sort of near East Coast, and she has lots of little furry friends, including, I think she calls them trash. No, is that trash? No, that was what's her name? She hasn't been here in many months now. Oh gosh, why can't I remember her name? Ivona has a lot of furry little friends, okay? And then there is Frittoli. Everybody remember Frittoli? She hasn't been here a long time, but she was going through some tremendous turmoil. But she's a fearsome fighter, and she's like she belongs to this Mensa club. It's for like super hyper intelligent people. Even though she was really ridiculed as a child and an adult, she's come out the other side. There's been a lot of tragedy, and she's become certified in her chosen field. And since then, I think she might have become occupied and very busy and hopefully successful. But she has a lot of furry friends too, and she likes to call the little raccoons, she likes to call them trash pandas. Some of the folks are visiting tonight. I've got some regular folks I do readings with on a regular basis, and I've got meetings scheduled for next week. So we probably won't have readings here tonight. But if anybody actually needs a reading, you can let me go back before I actually dive into Ivona's reading. Ivona, if you have any particular notes, give me a word. You know the routine. What kind of messages do we have here tonight for me regarding the subject of blah, blah, blah? Or you could be even simpler. What kind of messages do we have here for me tonight? Thank you, TL, kind of thing. But if it is a particular subject, then just type one word onto the screen and we'll figure it out. So if there's anyone else out there who's also a newcomer, and you're enjoying yourself, you decided like maybe this is the time to dip your toe in the water, do some really scary thing, and actually have a mini reading live in public in front of other people. Woohoo! It's not that scary, but it's by donation. Typically people put in like $10, $15, $20 or something like that. And if you've got PayPal already, you can throw it directly into my personal email here, which is alittlebookabout@yahoo.com, or you can go over, if you've got another device or another tab on your computer, you can go to the terralumination.com website, click the donate page, click the donate button, it opens up a payment processor, you slide your card through there, choose debit, credit, whatever, and you're done. Okay, and that's about it. So, Yep. I'll leave a blank one here in case anyone shows up. If you do and you're interested, please let me know. Type it in the screen, whoever you are, and I'll put you on the page. And people have made donations on the side beforehand anyway. They don't need readings, so I thank you very much. And let's have a look here. All right, where were we? I'm going to put this aside. Hold on, I just wanted to thank you very much. Thank you for your donations, everybody. It's really helping keeping things alive here in Terra Illumination world. Okie dokie. All right, I'm going to make some room here for your reading. All right, Ivona. Sometimes people don't donate until they've actually seen a reading live. And they might feel, oh, this is not for me. I was expecting to have all my problems solved. Oh. Yeah, right. Okay. We're dipping into the world of magic here. Thank your angels, thank your invisible friends, thank your guardian angels, thank your loved ones from the great beyond, thank your lost pets from the great beyond. That's what I do. Let's bless this deck, bless every single card, bless the artists, bless the folks who ever designed and conceived of tarot in the first place. It goes back, hundreds of years in terms of mythology and how it all came about. And some people, I know, who is it? Is it Love Triber, who actually works with real live playing cards, like what they use in Las Vegas casinos. And she does readings from there. It's a completely different environment where it's more precise in terms of definition, because it goes off of almost like an ephemeris in the way that astrology works. And the intuitive aspect isn't quite so important. It's more about the geometry of the cards and how they come out in terms of patterns. And the fellow who designed that system, I don't know if he's dead now, but I have no idea how he conceived of it, but it's mind-boggling how it works. Okay, yeah. So yeah, but over here we work with the tarot. I've got into a pattern over the years where right now on these little Sunday night live shows, that's pretty much all I've been doing for a long time now, because I've had so many basically health issues. And I try to throw in a few little fun episodes during the week when I can. But yeah, what I've done over the years, some of you know I used to do 40 or 50 videos a month, love and relationship and spirit readings, guidance readings for every sign, and layers of astrology for every sign, and then the Sunday night live shows. But that really didn't last very long. It only lasted about 2 years before the channel was basically crushed by a few people who effectively triggered the algorithm to destroy the channel, and that was the end of that. And it didn't make any financial sense. I can't run the channel the way I used to, because it would be like any of you guys working at a very tough full-time job and you don't get paid. Okay? You're not going to survive. Okay? Everybody, we all need sustenance to survive. Okay? And so I had to basically give that up and work with what works. And this is about all that's left. But still, we have fun. I can't teach tarot, really. I've learned a lot, but I can't really teach it. Some people thought, well, why don't you teach it? Do an online class and post it and, promote the class and collect, hundreds or thousands of dollars from all sorts of loving, admiring students and everything like that. It doesn't work that way with me. I'm not an academic. Sometimes I wish I was. I wish I could do that. It's like those seminar people and educators. They figure out, wow, I can make a lot of money just by standing up and talking to people and helping them how to live their lives, and selling tickets and promoting tickets and selling tickets and selling tickets and merchandise and everything like that. But I got shot down for that. It's crazy stuff. I always felt like I was pretty harmless, but the ticketing companies wouldn't let me work with them anymore. Really, I felt like I was being attacked. It's so weird. Okay, I'll stop complaining now. I'll blame that on the planets. I'll blame the complaining on the planets. 4 big retrogrades. By the way, Uranus is going to turn retrograde very soon. So that's going to increase the pressure of everything that can go wrong will go wrong. And it's not just little Mercury retrograde going retrograde. It's Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So that's 5 planets farther away on the outside going retrograde. So you can guarantee we're looking at a major meltdown on a global level. And it's going to get even worse. Okay? So for example, on the show here tonight, I'm just going to use my little diagnostic spread. I call it my situational spread. But it works like a diagnostic tool like you get in an auto tech place. When I do private readings for people, I have my own custom relationship spreads and my own heart spread, spiritual journey spreads and things like that. Okay? Okay. Yes, some people have suggested this is tarotainment. This is also astrotainment, which is true in a way. Because I can't really prove any of this stuff in hard, empirical evidence. It only happens when it's one-on-one, person-to-person, like with mediumship, and things happen where I could not have possibly have known. But we don't do that, and I can do that, but I don't do it as a practice. Also, what was that? Tarotainment, astrotainment. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun to delve out and above and beyond a 3-dimensional world and explore into the 5th dimensional and 7th and 11th dimensional world, basically the land of spirit, which is so big. Let's bless this card, bless this whole deck, bless this channel, bless all the softwares, the microphones, the computers, the wires and cables, the internet, the actual platform itself that allows us to do this, all of that stuff. All right, Ivona, here we go. Let's see, what kind of messages do we have here tonight for Ivona? Ivona is one of the brave ones for granting me permission to do a completely blind reading. It's a lot of fun this way too, by the way. I really enjoy them. No matter how many times we do readings for people, it's a wonder, amazing what comes up. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And let's have a look at the, let's say, external influences. I often defer to the astrology, but it could be something else in case we're having a very complex reading. Okay, so we got the 4 of Wands here. Okay. Oh, Ivona. For some reason, I felt this is like, it's almost like nothing to do with the astrology. It's more like a little big love hug from the planets. Even though I've been talking about this big scary thing here, we do have this beautiful thing here. And it's important to recognize that even though humanity is dealing with these massive convulsions in its own evolution, there are some good things happening as well. The Capricorn Taurus thing over here, that's a massively supportive, good-natured, beautiful energy field right there. The sun is in deep harmony with Jupiter and the moon over here. Okay. And anyway, so everything is exactly as it should be. And how is that so? And why is that so? Well, it's because it can't be any other way. Duh. It's like a bumper sticker. It's like a Tarot Lumination bumper sticker. Anyway, Ivona, this is almost like, this is very weird, but the way it came across to me is that with the 4 of Wands, it's a celebration that you have managed to endure through all these planetary ups and downs since this channel was started, and you're still here, stronger than ever, full of love. You're almost always the first person to show up at one of these shows. It's always a pleasure to have you. And to me it feels like it's time to honor Ivona, and that we love you. You're in good company. I love having you over here. I wish I could just go over to the East Coast and give you a big hug and hang out with your fur buddies, okay? Yeah. Hello, Tina. No, Tina, it's not too late to donate. I can take maybe one or two more. That's about it. I've been extremely fragile lately, and I honestly can't do a lot anyway as it is. I'm doing my best that I can. But with the Four of Wands here, I think, to me it feels like, let's forget the astrology, forget the tarot for a moment, and just put it aside, and let's acknowledge to each other that we have a lovely community. The Four of Wands, it's almost like, come on people, let's set up the community barbecue. I mean, that's what I was trying to do in the early days of Tarot Illumination. I had these fabulous visions of having, raising all sorts of money through merchandise and memberships and huge donations for multimillionaires who were lost and confused with business and finance. And they would send huge donations, and I would go out and buy a retreat and build a retreat or an animal rescue retreat. And it would be so awesome that people could just come and visit and stay in their own little cabins for a while. Didn't quite work out. I don't know, maybe it will, okay? So it's time to acknowledge, I think I'm basically saying, like Ivona, it's time to acknowledge that you're kind of a honorary VIP member of this community, and you really need to be celebrated. I'm not allowed to touch alcohol anymore, so you might have noticed I'm going almost berserk with frustration, because I love my beer, I love my red wine, I love my whiskey, I like a little bit of vodka, but right now this is plain water. Cheers, Ivona. It's time to celebrate the good stuff, enjoy the good stuff, and understand that you're doing an amazing job of handling the tricky stuff. You know, some people can't handle it. There are a lot of people across the world, across America, who are having complete financial, emotional, spiritual breakdowns to the point where they don't even want to be on this planet anymore. And there's a lot of tragedy. At the very bottom end of the global pyramid of power, money, control, at the very, very bottom, there are literally at least 2 billion people. 2 billion people that are suffering, earning 15 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents a day, going through landfills, trying to find something that they can trade for a little token they call it money, so they can buy food for themselves and their babies. You know, we're very, very lucky here. Ivona, you're very, very lucky. I know that you know that in your own way. I know that you have a very blessed life in your own way. And it needs to be celebrated, because you share with us, we share with you. And we have things here. I feel so privileged and so wealthy to even still have the channel at all. And even though I'm fairly well at the bottom of the pyramid in the United States, in other aspects, I feel like I'm way, way at the top of the pyramid when it comes to the world of the intangibles stuff. You know, I feel like I have a really close connection with my invisible friends and so on. But it's very hard to put a real value on that. You can't drive it like a truck. You can't eat it like fish and chips or anything. Okay. But anyway, Ivona, if you were here right now, I would say, come to center stage. This is a spontaneous hello and welcome and celebration as a VIP community member. And we're all here with you because half the people who come to these shows are basically the same. We're all VIP members of this tiny little community. I'm very proud to have this and share this with you, and that you share this with me, okay? Now, before I go back to your reading, okay, Ivona, something popped up on the screen. It looks like Tina wants a reading. Let's see. Is that right? Yeah. It says you've got money. That's what they say at PayPal. You've got money. Thank you, Tina. Oh, look at that. I love my new job, but my arthritis is killing me. Oh, God. Well, it seems to be the scourge of nursing. You give so much care to others, and I know you're a compassion junkie, Tina. Everybody knows that here on this channel. But nurses are renowned for taking on a lot of pain and suffering in order to do their day job. Okay. I know, Ivona. Okay, let me get back to your reading, okay? Okay, Ivona, before we dig in here, I'm going to get Tina her post-it note ready to go. Okie dokie. Yeah, Ivona, about, how do I get all that out of one card? Well, I'll tell you. It's not because of, studying tarot books and everything like that. Ivona, what happens is I'll look at a card and the imagery will instantaneously spark off like a little movie at my what do they call my frontal cortex, where you visualize things. When you are trying to imagine something or visualize something, it comes from the front end of your forehead. I think that's your something. Maybe Tina would know, your prefrontal cortex or something. Anyway, it comes as a very visual, figurative thing. Sometimes they get very powerful auditory messages, like words, like somebody speaking to me. And it's usually instantaneous, okay? And so I have to honor that. And I don't necessarily stick to strict correlations with the astrology or the tarot itself. I'm giving myself a lot of freedom and wiggle room here. So let me just share the imagery with you so you have that on record, in case you ever want to go back and look at the video. We celebrate you, Ivona. Thanks for coming to the party so consistently. Okay. All right, so what's the situation itself? Let's have a look. Could be anything, as you know, Tina. We've got the Strength card here. Okay, so to me it feels like there's a part of you which is you might feel as though you are being pushed and pushed and pushed to rise up into your strength, and that it's actually taking quite a toll on you. There's a part of you that knows that you can handle this, because to me it looks like there's a lot of pressure. But the thing is, it's happening for a reason, and you know that. Okay, let's look at it this way. I am going to go back to the charts now. Without having to define in any kind of detail what it means, this aspect creates a lot of pressure. Okay? Now, I'm not going to. I don't keep records, so I don't. You don't even have to tell me, and actually, please don't. But this aspect will trigger exactly on certain degrees of your chart, wherever that might be. Could look like this anywhere, and wherever these aspects touch, if there is one particular little trigger point that you have, like a particular alignment, it might be getting really, really intensely pressured right now. And you might be feeling as though you're being taken to the limits of your abilities to cope. On the other hand, That's part of what happens under a massive T-square like this. People, the world, the planet, nature, economies, politicians, corporations, leaders, individuals are being taken to the very, very extreme limits of their ability to cope. And the idea, when I say cope, it means to act with the highest levels of integrity and love, okay? Sometimes it's hard to do. But you know, because you're kind of built that way, you are loving and you are loved. That's kind of your default setting, like quite a few of the people here. So we have the challenge itself, but what I feel is that you know that it's a spiritual challenge, and that you know you will rise up. You know you will meet the challenge, and there is a higher purpose and meaning to it. There might not be any definition to what does it all mean. Like, what does it mean for me? I've listened to your stories, for example, Tarot Lumination. I've watched your videos, but what does it mean for me? I'm not exactly sure, because my life just consists of this, this, and this, and this, and this, or that, and that, and that. And you might see the news, and you might see people all over the world falling apart, or amazing things happening here and there. But what does it mean for you? You don't have to necessarily know in detail, because it's unfolding at the level of spirit, with you and for you and inside of you. So it feels to me like you're being tested to go to the next level of Ivona, okay? And it's happening live right now. It might not be fun. On the other hand, you are rising to the challenge because you know you have to. And the worst thing you could do is fight. Like, for example, back to the astrology, you know deep down, without having to analyze it, the worst thing you could do is fight this. The best thing to do is absorb it and treat it as a learning experience and ride with it and grow. Okay? It might be happening in a relationship dynamic, or finances, or health, or communications, or family, or it could be anything. All right, anyway, let's see. What are the problems here? Okay, well, we have a multitude of issues that I would say are hard to define. As it's literally, this is very strong visual imagery here, where it feels to me you are perfectly aware that you, in your personal life, are having to deal with multiple issues that you could say are challenging. But you could also say it's also in the broader aspect of what's happening in the world. There's a lot of things happening in the world that are very, very challenging. And that might be scary for you personally. It might be that you're starting to, absorb some of the pain and suffering of this world at a personal level. And of course, you can't take on all that suffering yourself. There's no way. It's not possible. You'd end up stuck and lost, and wherever you go, whatever you do, you'd end up stepping on a landmine. And yet, you have to conduct your life. You have to live on. Every day you have to keep moving. But you might feel as though like it's actually a little bit scary. Every time you wake up in the morning, every time you go about your day's business, you're feeling like, oh my God, what's going to go wrong next? Okay, is my credit card going to explode? Is the inflation going to get even worse? Is there some unseen health issue that's around the corner? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God! That kind of energy. So how are we going to deal with this going forward? Obviously, you know Ivona because we've worked together a long time. This is fear. False evidence appearing real, but fear feels real until you understand what it is. Once you understand what it is, how you define the fear, then it doesn't have such ownership over you. But right now, it's tricky. How do you define the fear? Multiple aspects. Okay, how are we going to deal with this going forward? Yo! Okay. Like I said at the very beginning of the show, yowza! More like kerblam, or howdy. Ivona, the way to handle it is to take it as given. Take it at face value that you are awesome, that you will prevail, and that you have already prevailed through so many things, and that you will continue to prevail against what appears to be almost all odds. It might feel like it's spiritually challenging, but with the Queen of Wands energy, the way forward is to simply remind yourself, like the way I am trying to remind you here through the reading, that you're awesome. You're truly, truly awesome. And don't forget that. In fact, you kind of symbolize that. You live by example, okay? Look at all the little pets here. See one up here? See over here? Living by, look at this one. See, come on, car. Come on, camera. Over here, and over here. Over here, over here. Meow. Meow. Okay? I wouldn't be surprised if there's more little creatures hidden. Yes, there's another one. There's a little bird. Oh, that's a leaf. There's a sunflower. But this is very glorious energy. So when I put this all together, Ivona, to me this feels like it's a reading about encouragement. Let's okay, I'm going to, you know how I like to do this acting stuff. So I'm going to refer to one of my own experiences recently. I just indulged in a really premium oil change for the car. And I'm really, really glad I did it. Because I'm one of these people, I've learned how to take care of really old cars and keep them going even longer. I've had a car that did over 500,000 miles. But it's a different situation, and this car needed help. It needed TLC, so I splurged and I did a really premium oil change. And then I did emptied the gas tank and filled it up with premium gasoline. And the car runs sweet. Makes a huge difference. I didn't know it would make such a huge difference. Now, with that particular oil change, it came with like a super deal. It said, TL, anytime now you can come in here every week, every month until your next oil change. Okay? And we can do checkups and top-ups for you. Okay? Just to keep you right in there. And it's kind of like, okay, I was trying to do an analogy here where all you need, what the reading is about, at the very core of the reading, is it's about reassurance. Okay, so what happened with me is that I went I got that oil change, I don't know, whatever it was, 3 weeks ago. And before the oil change, there were a lot of problems. And so I waited 3 weeks after the car was running much better. I went in and said, can you check up everything? I want to take advantage of your offer to come in and get everything checked up. And they treated me like a VIP. They said, absolutely, this way, sir. Drive right in here. And it was like a military operation. There were like 7 people working on the car, checking everything, do this, do that, analyze this, analyze that. And they checked it all up, asked a few questions, start up, test, start up, test, start up, test. And eventually they said, sir, you're good to go. Everything's great. Thank you very much. And I went, wow. And I just needed that reassurance. And I think what this reading is about is very much the same thing. You just needed to know, like some reassurance that everything is okay. And that you are okay. And that you will be okay. And you are doing the best that you can to be who you are. And you're probably doing the best self-care and self-maintenance that you possibly can. You can always do better and always do more, but we have to live within our limitations and our real, our budgets and all of that kind of thing. But you just needed a reminder that you're awesome, and the most awesome thing is that you made this very noble gesture to love thyself and treat yourself like a queen, and get that VIP service attitude perspective of yourself, and then recalibrate and just get a reminder. You are VIP, and this reading is to reassure you that you are. Okay? That's how you go forward. You are strong, and you will continue to be strong. You just needed a reminder. You're with us. We got you. We're with you. We need you. Okay? The community thing. Okay? The Leo Aquarius axis is very, very, very strong right now. It's like, we need you, Ivona. You are very unique in your own way. Continue to be unique and powerful in your own amazing way. And continue to hang out here with us in our community. Thank you very much. So in a way, it's a very sweet reading, considering it's such extremely challenging astrological times. Way to go, Ivona. All right, let's shuffle it up, folks. All right, I'm going to pop this away. I'll do another little tune while I'm doing a quick shuffle here. That's scary. All right, Tina, you're up. By the way, Tina, that's really awesome news. It's fantastic that you got this cool job and you love it. Oh, I don't know how to help with the arthritis. I mean, there is such a thing as remote healing. So I can't really do much from here except a little bit of, a gesture of remote healing. This little, reading here might have a little bit of a healing effect. I want to just, how can I do this? I'm just checking something behind the scenes. Stay there, okay? Okay, and I just got to go over here. Okay. Yep. I'm doing my homework, okay? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I didn't see that one. All right, okay. Let me go over here. Behind the scenes stuff, okay, people? Give me a second. I'll be right there. I only just found out, Path. Path is... Actually, everybody here is VIP tonight. Here we go. I won't be able to take any more than this, so I thank you all very, very much. We're going to read for Tina next, and then for Path. All right. Neil. All right, here we go. Let's have a look. Tina wants, let's have a look. General job focus. No problem. All right, cards are nicely shuffled, nice and sweet. So I think we're ready to just dive straight in. Seriously, folks out there, everyone who's listening and watching, newbies, VIP regulars, and all of that, thank you so much. I don't know how to explain how important this is to me, having this little channel, this little show on Sunday nights. I do everything I can to keep it going. I've been trying to do what I can to get more shows in the week, especially for the Astrodoodle, as I call them, the daily transits. That was a great idea from Love Triber. I'm hoping I can get to the point where I can do more of those. I'm not there yet. It's taken a very long time. All right, here we go. So, job issues. It's just like, I mean, we seem to have, it's having a lot of sweet, really awesome, good vibes here tonight. Despite that scary sacred geometry stuff, I have to say, hold on. So Tina, before we dive in, I just wanted to say thank you again for everybody, to everybody. You all have shown a lot of love to the channel over the years, and it's deeply appreciated. I do what I can to reciprocate. Be loving, be loved. As you know, a few years ago, I think it was 2019, I was doing private meetings and everything, and I was getting pretty deep into some of the self-healing practices that I use. I don't do that right now. I wish I could. I'm just trying to stay afloat myself. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is that even I was trying to point out how there's this very harsh challenge in the astrology right now. There's pretty much always something that's harsh and challenging. And there's also some sweet stuff that's happening too. And the more and more I do this, the more I am personally able to deal with the tricky stuff, which allows me to offer readings and services to clients, visitors, and to the public. But there's a lot of people out there. All you VIP visitors, you know who you are. And all the new folks who drop in, if you're new and you've dropped in here, I don't think it was a coincidence. So please enjoy it, make the most of it. It might feel like a very weird experience, or like, what is this? Maybe you're just curious, but try and get something good out of it. Because we operate on, I'd like to say that we operate at very high frequencies here when you're talking about human vibration, vibrational energy, like things like auras. Think of your aura and stuff like that, okay? And so it's wonderful that we can all share with each other as unique beings, and how we actually support ourselves and each other like a mutual support system. Sometimes things get pretty feisty, like what happened a while ago, but it happens. We're human beings and our fuses blow. There are times when I just go absolutely berserk inside, and I have to go through little rituals to heal myself, and then get over it. Okay. All right, Tina, let's have a look. So, that is really good news. I think everybody here knows, or if you don't, you need to know, Tina just scored her awesome new job up there in Helena, Montana area, and she loves it. Of course, things catch up with you, and she's concerned about the arthritis. Now, that might not be anything to do with this reading, but who knows? Let's have a look. Let's see what shows up here. Now, this is I should have said earlier, like with Ivona's reading, this is my situational spread. It's a very neutral spread. I designed it many years ago. It's still good and strong. It's pretty much, I only use 3 major spreads and slight variations on them in private, and that's about it. And it's because they're very durable and very, very effective. So, this is a diagnostic tool. It allows us to sort of peel back the veil, have a look what's going on. Once you reveal it, you can heal it, okay? Because it's usually about healing. This whole channel is essentially about healing, but not conventional healing. I don't sell krill oil, for example, and I don't cast spells and all that stuff, okay? We got all sorts of interesting folks here tonight. Icarus, Maurice, and what was the other fellow? The other fellow earlier. English was not his native language. Anyway, thank you all for being here. Here's the situation. Here's the challenge. Here's how we're going to handle it. Now, we already know the situation, or the subject matter is Tina's job. Okay? Now, let's have a look over here. Let's see what we got. We got the Hierophant energy. Well, my first impression here with the Hierophant is that you are in your element. Let's put it that way. You're very much wedded to the job, and the job is wedded to you. It makes me feel like you are deeply appreciated, and you appreciate them, and it is like a marriage made in heaven, okay? Now, obviously, I don't know if I would say I'm not exaggerating, but that's what I'm feeling here, okay, Tina? It feels to me like, do you remember when we first started working on this stuff after you arrived in Helena? Like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What are we going to do with Ava, the search and rescue dog? And what about the other dogs? And slowly things are falling into place. I think you said it's a fairly small hospital with a small staff, but it's a very, very important hospital because it involves ICU and emergency care and all that. And my feeling is that it's coming true in that it's turning out that you are highly appreciated, highly valued, almost like an angel that fell from heaven into there. You literally fell out of the sky into their lap. And that's good for them. And they were so happy to have you. You got your bonus, and now you're happy to be there. It's like, we love you, Tina. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tina, for being here. We love you. Don't go. And it's mutual, like here, this is your reading, it's about you, but it's like revealing, like, well, actually, I kind of like it here too. So it is like a sort of a match, like a really good, strong, solid kind of, it's like a contract. Like it's almost like taking vows. Like you've taken vows to be a healer. Like you do real-time 3D healing in hospitals with real physical patients and, years of nursing experience and training. What happens here on Tarot Lumination is a whole other thing, but it's still healing. But you are out there in the front lines of the battlefield, bringing healing to the community. And you are obviously highly appreciated. and it's almost like the way I feel it with the just from that one card, the way I feel it is like this has been a long time coming for them and for you. Now let's dig deeper. What's the situation? Are there any issues that we have to figure out here? Okay, so we got the King of Cups energy here. Partly, what it feels like to me is that every now and again, you might be having moments of self-doubt about, my God, am I really operating at this kind of level? Now, this is a very masculine card, of course, but it is regarding Cups energy, which is very much to do with the heart and love and the soul. And again, I think this is all about acknowledgement and recognition, and not only for the workplace to you, but also from you to the workplace, where it says here in your notes, critical access. So it's very, very important. And the situation is literally about being able to maintain incredibly high standards of integrity and work ethics and healing abilities and leadership in an environment that has the potential every now and again to be extremely hyper challenging. When you're talking about critical access, it sounds to me you're talking about people who are getting wheeled in the door because of a heart attack or a car crash, or their vitals are crashing, or something really horrific, and you've got to get on that. And it's a very, very, very tough job, but somebody's got to do it. So that's what the situation, and it needs to be, I would say, this is a really strong energy that I described here for you, and this is a very strong energy here too. But it needs to be acknowledged and recognized, and let's say described. Okay, you are, the way I look at it, Tina, that you need to understand that you are very valuable to the community and to the hospital there, and I believe that they see you and feel you as very valuable to them, because there are a lot of people who might be able to get hired to do the job, but actually getting the job done to the degree, the capacity that you would, that's a whole other thing. So again, this is about acknowledgement, recognition, and respect. Okay, now what are the challenges here? We've already defined the arthritis, we know that. Okay, with the Sun card here, to me it almost feels like this is like a really strong reading, and I think it's partly to do with, I would say, synchronistic events, like you're in this town, in that state, with certain synchronistic events which have lined up in a way which are kind of harmonious for you, especially now that you've got hired and there's going to be money coming in, you got financial remuneration that is appropriate for your level, because you're a very high level, highly credited, okay? And it's true, you could not ask for a better reading, and the issue is it's almost like what you just said. I can't ask for a better reading, like it doesn't get any better than this. So how on earth is this going to be sustainable on a sustainable basis? That's crazy. It's almost like good luck. It's not the Wheel of Fortune card, but this is more like, wow, Is it going to be like this every day when I'm going to have such like a sweet, I would say sweet, okay, I'm going to go to something here for a second. You see this really hyper stressful thing here? It might have actually worked in a very beneficial way for you because, Tina, you have a long history here with the channel, and you have a long history in your personal life about facing problems and issues head on, to the point of like, you know what, bring it on. Bring it on. The only way I can deal with this is to bring it on. The best defense is a good offense. I want to know what the problem is so that I can deal with it. And so that's kind of your way of operating, and it's very, very effective. You take on huge risks, and you make very big, bold decisions. And look where you are now. And it's almost like, oh my God, is it going to be this good forever? I don't know. Now, this has nothing to do with the arthritis. I can't say anything about the arthritis here at this point here. It's more like, how am I supposed to sustain this? Because with such high level expectations upon you from the job and the community and the people who hired you, plus the very high standards that you place upon yourself and the very high quality of service that you provide to others, you're operating at really premium optimal, what's the word? Abilities. And you have to wonder, you have to ask yourself, is this sustainable? Well, for right now, let's just say it is, okay? Don't be scared. But with the arthritis, we're going to have to figure out long term. And like, I can see there's a lot of chat going on the screen there, Tina, with about self-healing and everything. Like, I can't read it right now, but somehow or other, it sounds like you're trying to figure things out already. But how are we going to deal with this? It sounds like we have to figure out how to deal with the arthritis long term. That's really physical 3D stuff that has to be dealt with. But let's go a little bit above and beyond, see how we're going to deal with this. Okay, so with the Six of Cups here, my feeling is that this is kind of a calling, what has happened to you, like the whole sequence of events of what's happened to you in the last year or two. It's been like a calling where to go forward, it's understanding that you are being guided and you are being protected very much in real time here, not by, I would say, invisible friends from the great beyond, where I would expect to see the card of hope, forgot what it's called, but this is like here in real time where going forward, how do you deal with this? It's on the understanding that like you've been called to this from the past, and it's happening in real time right now. Somehow or other, you planted seeds in the past, sowing seeds of love that are coming into fruition now in this lifetime, right now in real time. There's an expression, sowing seeds of love. And you nurture those seeds of love, and you don't waste your seeds on barren ground. Okay. So I think the way forward is to, on the larger picture, I'm not saying I can solve the arthritis here, but it sounds like you're doing a very good conversation on the side, how to deal with it, at least short term. I've got some ideas, by the way. But for now, the way forward is to understand that what's happening with you is kind of a calling. It's like a mission. And it's almost like, please do not be surprised if you bump into certain soul characters or past life characters who show up in this particular lifetime in 3D, where you might not recognize them right now, but to have the degree of bounty and beneficence and synchronicity that you are enjoying right now, I would like to suggest it might be because of having planted seeds of love in the past, including previous lifetimes, where what you are experiencing right now is kind of a condensation, where you get to do something that you really love to do, even though it is very, very taxing on your body. You are being rewarded and respected almost to the point of worship. That's how I look at it here. And I wouldn't be surprised, because you've only just started the job, okay, remember? Let's get you settled in, but over time, okay, I'm going to move over here for a moment. Don't be surprised if you end up being one of those caregivers who receives some kind of unending gratitude from some of your patients or co-workers, like they don't know how to say thank you enough. And they become part of your present community, but they also become historically bound to you in what in another lifetime, for example, might be a past life community coming forward. But what I'm also sensing with the Six of Cups here is that in a very, very, very soft, very, very gentle way that's not necessarily perceived right now, you might start to notice that there are a few soulmates, real, live soulmates who are operating in 3D with you. Soulmates from previous lifetimes or from future lifetimes, and they are operating there in 3D with you, above and beyond what you can do in a normal, really, let's say, coarse or a very toxic or very fractured, broken hospital healing environment. For example, I'm sure you know, Tina, that there's healthcare industry and then there's health care. And there are a lot of places in America and across the world where the healthcare and the healthcare industry is in very, very, very bad condition. In fact, it's almost in some places like the worst thing you can do for some people is to go into a hospital, okay? And it's just the opposite with you here. To me, it makes me feel like you are literally an angel who came down to earth, and every now and again, one of those patients is going to say like, oh my God, you're an angel. You're a real life, my God, you're a real live angel. Wow, thank you so, so much. And that's just you doing your day job. That's what I'm sensing here. So the way to go forward is to fully understand the depth of immersion where you are right now in your brand new world, where you're literally looking for your tribe, you're swimming with your tribe, okay? It's not just us here on Little Tarot Illumination, but with real people in 3D right there, right where you are right now. Now, I'm not going to go into the arthritis because it looks like you've already got a lot of help going on here, and maybe that's something we can work on another time, because arthritis is not a joke. There are ways to deal with it. I personally, Tina, as you know, I don't really have arthritis, but I've had a lot of issues with sciatica. And I've had to learn how to move my body. And I've had to teach myself how to be very humble. Especially like the other day, in fact, yesterday, you know, people think, hey, TL, you look like you're doing fine. People have no idea, most people have no idea the degree of like health issues that I'm trying to deal with right now. And a friend was over the other day, and I was trying to get some work done on loading up some spare gasoline into the car using these huge gas tanks. I can't lift one of these tanks on my own. I was starting to drag it, and a friend came out and said, hey, let me give you a hand. He picked up one tank and then he picked up the other tank. And I said, Michael, you can't do that. You'll freaking break your spine. He said, what? No. And he just took care of it. I can't do that because I've got major spinal issues. You'd never know by looking at me, but I do. So I've had to train myself how to live and conduct my body, carry my body in such a way that I don't bring further damage on my spine. And it's very, very, very easy for me to make one slight error in my bodily movements to bring in a lot of pain. So I've had to condition myself to not do certain bodily movements. I've also had to train myself and condition myself to say no to a lot of things. Like people would assume, oh, like, can you just carry that suitcase for me? Or like, oh, can you? No, I can't. So for example, let's say, Tina, here's a hardcore 3D example. Let's say you're in a very, very tough situation in the hospital and it's, 10 hours into a 12-hour shift and you're exhausted and you're aching and pain and arthritis is really flaring up. And you know that if you make a certain movement to move a certain patient in a certain way, it's going to bring a lot of pain. Then what you have to do is either tell the patient or start to build in some existing protocol or create a protocol with your coworkers and let them know that you have limiting arthritis. It limits your ability to do this and that. And it's not something you're proud of, but every now and again you're going to have help above and beyond what you would normally want to do. Normally you would probably just pounce on a situation and just take care of it. But physiologically, you need to take care of your body. And it's okay to ask for help. In fact, I think it's very, very important that, okay, I'm really just going to blurt it out now. Since it's a small place with only a few coworkers, it may be a good idea to have a kind of informal get together or somehow communicate to your coworkers that people, I love being here, I'm so glad to be here, but I'm brand new and I got to let you know I have issues with arthritis, okay? And there are going to be times when I cannot cope. And I'm not going to do things that are going to destroy me or make it impossible for me to come in for my next shift or finish this shift. So I'm going to ask, if I have to, I'm going to ask for help. And you're going to have to help me. And I'm going to have to tell that to the patients as well. Okay? So that needs to be made very clear and very important, like a protocol. Maybe they don't do these things officially in healthcare, like where you have special codes and documents, or maybe you can have like little walkie-talkies. Do you guys have that? I don't know how they communicate in hospitals, like beepers or but if you have a walkie-talkie or something, Tina, where you can go like beep beep, hey guys, listen, I need help over here now. Ding, ding, Tina, out, blah blah blah. I don't know, but you got to set it up so you get help, and nobody thinks you're weak or frail or needy. They go, oh my God, Tina's giving us a blip. Come on, let's go give her a hand. Okay, you got to get to that level, and no one's going to be resent doing that. Okay, that's kind of what I'm feeling here. Okay, trust your tribe, trust your team, trust your coworkers by offering them the trust and doing a very almost a deeply humbling thing by telling them there are going to be occasions where you can't cope. The worst thing you could do is do something that's going to debilitate you. So that has to be brought out very earlier in your new career here. There. All right? All right, let's shuffle it up, folks. I'm going to play another tune. All right, Path. Well, I think everybody's heard now it's your birthday, give or take a few days. Congratulations. Thank you for the donation. I found it. All right, let's dive in. Yeah, I know, Path, you've been having a rip-roaring time lately, and we've been diving into it behind the scenes. It's very exciting. It's sometimes scary. It's wonderful, beautiful, amazing. Cards are well shuffled. If you have an issue, Path, and you want to put it in one word, like what messages do we have here tonight for Path Traveler regarding the subject of ... Please let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to get the diagnostics out and we'll get rolling here, okay? One day Path. Or Leo, light it up. Oh yeah, baby. Here we go. It's amazing, like when people like tune in and live up to their astrological identities. It's mind-boggling. It kind of I mean, it never. Oh, you can never stop growing. Well, I guess you can if you deliberately choose to. Thank you, Path. I will do that. I will just go for it. Now, like one of the things about Western astrology is that I started when I was really, really young. Really, really young. I was just like, what is this going on here? And those were the days where, well, there were no computers and everything was done with an ephemeris and pencils and charts and diagrams, and it took a long time to create a chart for somebody. Nowadays it's all computer. You like put in some data, click, there's your chart, boom, like that. And there are companies that do a good or an outstanding job of pumping out like pre-generated astrological analyses or of your profile, and it's really, really wonderful. But it's kind of a nice, sweet indulgence to have a person, a real life person, doing an interaction or an interpretation. The computer things can be really amazing. I've learned a lot from some of my teachers. Some of that involved computer softwares and things. I didn't lease them, but they would let me operate on theirs and so on. But anyway, it is amazing. Like there's astrology's in its own ways been going for many, many thousands of years because human beings have been around. What's some of the oldest recorded ones? At least 150,000. Sometimes we know that there are hominins that go back like 2 or 3 million years at least. But in modern times, what they call recorded history, it doesn't really go much farther back than about 6,000 years, or 3,000 if you look at the Egyptians and Greece and Rome and all of that. So it's really not a lot of time. But at that time, they started to develop things like writing and language in such a way that could be recorded and stored and passed on in terms of learning and education. Because previously to that, everything was purely oral and stories were passed on that way. But it's obvious that over time, patterns were noticed. People knew very, very early on that the sun has a very regular pattern, and the earth, the seasons have a very regular pattern, and people notice like the moon has a very regular pattern. Then they look up at the sky, they realize there's another little one, Mercury. Then there's Venus and Mars and Jupiter and Saturn. You can see all those with the naked eye on a clear sky. And they started over thousands of years to attribute patterns purely by, what's that word they use in science? Empirical evidence. In other words, just by observation and taking notes over thousands of years, there was irrefutable empirical evidence that indicated that Saturn energies and Saturn transits and Saturn patterns had certain characteristics. And so on and so on. And that got built up and well established into these very magical... Back in the day, astrology was considered the highest and the finest of art forms, and only accessible to kings and queens and emperors, you know. Anybody else down in there in the land of peasants, way below, you would be considered a crackpot or a witch or something like that, or demonically possessed if you tried to play with astrology, because astrology was the secret knowledge of the elite. Yeah. So, where we are today with humanity, everything's computerized. You can come to Terra Lumination, get a mini reading. You can book a big personal reading. I can pull up charts, make charts, do interpretations. It's amazing what we can do. That was not possible, 50, 70 years ago. And when people get more and more into this stuff, they realize it can be used as a powerful tool for evolution, so that your spirit, your body, mind, heart, and soul can evolve and grow in the way that's most appropriate and healthy for you, which is what's best for you and your loved ones nearby, and effectively for the rest of the world. So there you go. All right, let's have a look, Path. Okay, cards are well caught. It's not just, I'm looking at your notes there, it's not just the planets, it's the degrees that are tinging my chart. Now, I'm thinking like tingling my chart or dinging my chart. I've never heard the word tinging, but tinging, yeah, that could be a word, to ting something. Like this could be tinging, There you go. Thank you, Necessary. Thank you very, very much. There we are. Pure, unadulterated channeling. That's what we do here at Terra Illumination. All right, let's have a look. Cards are well shuffled. You're all a witness. I'm just going to do what we do. So what are the messages that we have here for Path? Path is going through some profound evolutionary leaps at this point. Also challenges, also rewards. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it going forward. And let's have a look at the external influences. Okay, over here. Okay. Can you see that, Path? Gardening. It's a lot of work. Keeping the soil, tilling the soil, nurturing the soil, cleaning up the soil so that you can harvest from the soil. Some people are scared of this card. Nothing to be scared of here. It's a beautiful card. To me it feels like it's like this is symbolic of you taking a full grasp of your life and realizing, wow, I've already come so far and done so much. I already have planted seeds. I've already sown seeds of love, and I can see them very clearly here. It's very rich. I have a garden. I am a gardener. I work hard, and I've seen results of hard work and how nature works. But it never stops. It's almost like the next step is like, it's almost like what it's about now is removing obstacles. Okay? I don't know if you've heard that expression. Let me go back over here. It's about understanding that there are obstacles and removing obstacles. You could see those viney type things as like weeds. Very, very, very deeply entrenched weeds that can be very, very hard to uproot. And I'm not a gardener, okay? I know some people who are very, very, very capable, avid gardeners. And weeding is just an integral part. You can do all the mulching and the planting and the grand designs and spend a fortune on saplings and bushes and shrubs and fertilizers and weed killers and all that. But if you don't actually tackle the weeds at the roots, you know your efforts are wasted and doomed, and what could have been will never be. So I think you're at that point right now where you're looking at, let me go back here. We're talking about tending the garden of your soul. And symbolically, this can happen in your 3D garden as well. I believe that, because I think pretty much everybody here knows Path Traveler. And Path Traveler has a garden. Path Traveler is a gardener. And gardening is very, very close to the gardening of the soul. And so Path is dealing with this just like everybody else in their own way. Path is dealing with this in her own way. But there's also this beautiful, profound, earthy thing here, which you could forget what I was talking about with world politics and finance. Turn it into earthiness, like earth and garden. Talking about getting the garden, the land, the nutrients, the worms, the fertilizer, the mulch into optimal premium condition so that the decay actually works in your favor, and then you have what I call good energy management or good stewardship of the garden, and then that benefits you so that when you do the weeding and when you do proper stewardship of the garden, and you're already tuned into that, but we're taking it next level now. It's almost like the next level is the stewardship about doing the stuff that nobody wants to do. Everybody, of course, they want to have the flowers and the fruits and the trees and the growth and enjoy the downtime where you can put your feet up and just look at the beautiful garden around you. Nobody wants to do the weeding, but somebody's got to do it. And it's your garden. Maybe you can get some help. Maybe you don't have to do it personally. Okay, that's an idea. Either way, it's very, very important. You've already got to the point where you've got the garden. You've got a garden. But to maintain the standards and the quality and the ambitions and the future that is there already, which is very abundant, it's important to make weeding a number one priority now. Maybe it doesn't make sense right now in this reading, but weeding is really, really important. And I'm not enough of an expert to know how to do natural weeding versus like high-powered chemical destruction type weeding. I don't know. Maybe there's ways to do it without killing too many bugs or something. I don't know enough about gardening to do that. Okay, so what's the situation itself? Okay, so what I see here with the Judgment card is a realization that it's once you do the weeding and once you commit to that. Now I'm stretching the reading quite a lot here because we're talking about an actual physical garden, but it's translating into the garden of your soul. Okay, so when you do the weeding in the garden of your soul, what it does, it releases you from the impediments. I call it the removal of obstacles. It's liberation. It's freedom. It's just complete, utter redemption, forgiveness of whatever didn't work for you or doesn't work for you or hasn't worked for you in the past. And from now on in the future, adopting, I would say, higher standards and protocols of gardening and gardening of the soul to the point where it'll become more and more obvious over time that you are literally the one who is liberating yourself. You are creating your own liberation. You are liberating your soul from any, let's say, bindings or shackles or impediments or grief or sorrow or damage from the past. And what really counts is, I would say, living in the highest state of freedom possible that only you can create for yourself. Nobody can do this for you. Now, if you need help, that's a total other thing. It's perfectly okay. You don't have to break your body to do the weeding. There are people who do it. But it's very, very important. I think this is a storyline opening up here about the weeding of the garden, maintaining your garden, is a direct correlation to the evolution of your soul, the garden of your soul. What are the problems here? Well, it's a never-ending battle, obviously. It's obviously because of weeding. As soon as you pull up one root, you discover, oh my God, there's 6 more. Oh, wow. But you can handle it because that's what weeding is all about. And then you just do it. And there will come a period where you've actually weeded as much as you can. You've overcome the weeds. And you know damn well, somewhere deep, deep down in the soil, there's going to be one nasty little tiny leftover root or seed or something. And the same problem is going to come up again in a few weeks or a few months or a few years. But there will be episodes where you will be able to enjoy the beauty and the wonders and liberation of getting all the weeding done on your garden and not having too much resentment, knowing that you're going to have to weed again. And then one day you're going to have to weed again. And one day you'll have to weed again. I was very fortunate. I just wanted to share a little story here. I can't resist. There was a time when I lived way deep, deep out in the countryside in the boonies in England, little old England. The house was an ancient stone dwelling. It used to be the house of the local pastor who worked as the pastor in the church, which was about a 3-minute walk from the front door down a very ancient stone pathway. That church was built in the year roughly 1120. Imagine that. Okay? So that's the kind of environment I lived in. The roads are very narrow. Everything is extremely green, extremely luscious. If it's not raining, it's just about to rain. When the sun comes out, it's fantastic. It's beautiful. Make the best of it because it doesn't last. I know England is suffering from some drought, but they still get rain. And about another 2 minutes further on in the walk, you can go through the little side gate of the church and end up in the formal gardens of this beautiful, enormous British stately home, like a manor house, like a huge frickin' mansion, hundreds of rooms, for a place called Durham Park, Dyrham. You can Google it. You can Google Durham Park, Dyrham, and you'll see that's where I lived. I didn't live in the house. I lived in a tiny cottage, a little cottage behind the main house. And at the main house, I think it was in the 70s, the 1970s, going back in history, the house was inhabited by lords and ladies. I'm not kidding. But the taxes became so absurd in England that they decided it's not worth it. We're going to cash out, move to Switzerland, and donate the property to the National Trust. The National Trust is a national trust that takes over British heritage properties and turns them into stately homes. And it's absolutely beautiful. And I was very privileged to live right there. And because I was living in the village, in the neighborhood, I was granted perpetual rights to hang out in the big house and in the gardens. And the big gardens were very ornate because the National Trust takes care of it. So every blade of grass is perfect, all the flowers are perfect, and the trees are perfect. There are peacocks everywhere, deer roaming around, sheep, exotic birds, and wildlife of all kind, ponds and lakes and streams, and then tourists, small amounts of tourists that were allowed to be guided, and tea rooms where people could go and have a cup of British tea. And then they would have events there like marriages and so on and so on. Durham Park, no spelling, typo, necessary typo, Durham, D-Y-R-H-A-M, Durham Park. It's a very, very, very old village. Anyway, so the gardens were very ornate, like classic British ornate gardens. And it's an amazing thing to witness. It brings you tremendous joy and therapy and happiness. And I could just go out there and sit there. Or walk around and just enjoy it like I was Prince Charles or something, you know. And the weeding never stops. That's the point that I was trying to get to. The rake, the rakes, and the picking and the tweezing and the manicuring, and especially the weeding, it never stops. Ever, ever, ever. But there are periods when they take a break, and you can just enjoy it. So that's kind of what I'm getting with here with your reading path, is that you've got something amazing. You are amazing, and you're starting to realize how amazing. And it's a wonderful thing. You own that. You're a living example. I think everybody here knows that you are a multi-stellium Leo, and you are a living example. But it's work. It takes a lot of work to be a glowing, shiny Leo. You got to do the weeding. Oh, you just looked it up. Did you see it? Yeah, it is beautiful. I tell you, it's just, and that particular house, Durham Park, it's just one of hundreds and hundreds in England. And I've been to quite a few of them because I love going there. They would have poetry readings, live theater. They would have dinner parties, weddings, like I said, business events, all sorts of things. And then you could walk around and look at all the paintings. Like many things in my life, I've lived, for many periods in my life, I lived right in the middle of a movie set. And then I ended up working in Hollywood for 20 years. Go figure. Anyway, I don't know if some of you know this, but here's a quirky thing. There is a beautiful movie. It's called Remains of the Day. Okay? Remains of the Day. R-E-M-A-I-N-S of the Day. D-A-Y. And it's a very classy movie, and the star is Sir Anthony Hopkins. And guess what? They filmed that movie at Durham Park and in the village. And it was so much fun for me to see all the movie crew. I mean, I'm going way, way back. I'm going way, way back. It was amazing. I loved hanging out and like crawling in and out and like being one of the locals. And the movie crew would look at you like, who are you? Where did you come from? Like, you can't be here. Like, we're trying to shoot a movie, okay? Like, here, you know. Back in the day, they wouldn't have said, "Here's a bottle of water. Can you leave now?" Anyway, so if you guys want to see really what it was like at Durham Park, watch the movie Remains of the Day. There you go. So I think on that note, we'll wrap it up for the evening. Oh no, we can't. We still got to finish your reading. How are we going to survive all this, Path? Because it's tough work. Okay? You got it. It's tough work being Path Traveler. But you can handle it going forward. Okay, so right now, I think you're already doing what you have to do. You have to literally, to me it feels like you're in such an intense, you are living inside such an intense vortex right now of astrological pressures that the very, very, very worst thing you could do is try to push it or fight it or move it or manipulate it in any way to try and avoid it. And instead, the best thing to do is what the Hangman is doing. It's completely to surrender to the Force and allow the Force to be with you. Okay? So that you, it's almost like what they do in one of those, is it Star Wars or something? May the Force be with you, and then it's like die before you die, and you just allow. So instead of trying to fight this or push against any of this, instead tap into what you're already doing. The garden and the beautiful earthy trine support stuff here with the Pisces energy in the middle. Think of all the worms and the mulch in your garden doing beautiful, miraculous things. And Mercury's in Virgo, helping you to figure out exactly in detail how you're going to keep going and doing this. But the strategy, because this has been going on for weeks, and it's going to continue at least for a few more days. The Sun is going to move on, but Venus is going to grind in over here, okay? And Saturn is retrograde, Uranus is going to retrograde, and in a couple months, Mars is going to be over here. It's going to be something, I'm not sure, but anyway, this hasn't finished yet. So the worst thing you could do is fight it, and the best thing to do is I invite this, bring this on. I want this. I need this. I'm going to learn from this. So please bring it on. And allow yourself. Sometimes I think of this as deliberately going into a condition of suspended animation, where it's sort of like this, where, you know what? Let's say you've never ever done scuba diving before. Have you ever done scuba diving? I have. I haven't done it a lot. In some ways, I'm a little bit scared of water because I've had some very bad accidents in the ocean, and nearly died several times. But I'm kind of a water baby, and I love to be in ocean. I can't do it here in Las Vegas, obviously, but sometimes, in order to survive and get through an event or a potentially very scary phenomenon that you've never experienced before, you have to surrender to kind of like a brainwash moment where you surrender to the fear. You just allow yourself to be scared, and you do it anyway. And you kind of go like, oh my God. Let's say scuba diving for the first time. And you're a little bit scared. And you've got a good mask, good tank, good everything. And you're surrounded by people who've done it before, but you've never done it before. You might not have ever been in the ocean before. And then it just gets very, very weird and trippy, and it becomes almost like that. The other way to describe it is that weird sense of the distortion of time and space during a car crash or something, or when you have extremely bad news, when you kind of go like, what? It happened very, very quickly, but it goes in slow motion because your spirit and your soul and your heart and your mind can only handle so much at a time. So it's like the universe contorts and squashes down so that you can handle it. So I think the way to go forward, at least for the next few weeks, even for the next few months, because we still have Uranus retrograde to deal with, okay? Soon Mercury's going to go retrograde. I mean, it's a lot to deal with to get through to the end of September, October, November. Things are going to change, but between now and then, please allow yourself to go through what I could only describe as a sort of like a slow motion, trippy sense of dissociation. Like, it's almost like the worst thing you could do is try to hold on to something that you think might stabilize you. It might be better to just let go and just go with the flow of things and immerse yourself in the wonders of your 3D life, the way you're living it right now, and allow it to be a lesson process, and allow your body to be an antenna and absorb every lesson that you need to learn through your body, your mind, your heart, and ultimately your soul, okay? In other words, allow yourself to feel weirded out. Allow yourself to dissociate. Allow yourself to feel dissociated. And you'll be just fine. Because you're still here. You still got all of us, okay? Just check in every now and again, all right? Okay, so there's your reading. Thank you so much, Path, for trusting me with your reading. Yay. Oh, gosh. I wish I could do this for hours and hours and hours like I used to, but I can't, so I won't. All I'm going to do, I think what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just quickly clear the deck, okay? No, thank you, Path. Okay, we'll clear up later on. All right, but that's it. All right, I'm going to head out of here real quick. I want to say good night to everybody. Wish you a beautiful week ahead. Today is the 14th. In about, well, anyway. Let me just have a quick look here, see if there's anything I need to share. Okay, the moon is over here. Please be careful when the moon hits over here. Moon in Taurus. Just pay attention, okay, Path? Things might feel very, very like... And please be very careful when the moon hits over here in Leo. Okay? That's going to be around... that's going to be next week, so don't worry about that too much. But for now, late this week, middle or later this week, the moon is going to be over here in Taurus. And that's going to add some increased pressure over here. And Venus is going to come closer to the sun and so on. That's going to increase pressure over here. So just, be aware. I'm just giving some advance notice of the weather to come. All right? Okay. Thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Okay, I'm going to wrap out now. Wrap out with a little tiny Tarot Lumination tune, something like that. Yes, if I can. Here we go. It's been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful ride. Here's my little song, Wonder Ride. It's actually a birthday present to someone I love very dearly, but you can enjoy it too.
Okay, we are rolling. So, this is a birthday present from my sweetheart. Just wanted to share this. Okay, it's called Wonder Ride.
Okay. Here we go.
My dear, this is my birthday present to you, to celebrate the day that heaven made you. It's remarkable that we both found one another. And the day we set out on our transformation ride with each other at each other's side, it soon became evident that we are both changing. it's such a wonder ride. Hold on tight, tightly, my dear. And now that our journey it starts to unfold in a multi-dimensional world of untold delights that truly defy the imagination. You've naturally taken it up on yourself to document all of the nuances that go to make up a story of extraordinary proportions. Such a wonder ride, my dear. Yes, it's such a wonder ride. Hold on tight, tightly, my dear. Yeah, it's such a wonder ride, my dear. Yes, it's such a wonder ride. Hold on tight, tightly, my dear. So there you go.